Patty says, maintain full ownership of the keys without having to trust anyone else. How do I get on board? That's so maybe that's where I'll wrap things up today, because this is I really think that everybody who's watching the show today, anybody who owns any Bitcoin today before like the SBR, I think there's going to be those are going to be the OGs. Those are the people who are going to take, it's going to take a lot to like secure that Bitcoin. A lot of things to worry about there. So if you've heard me talk about this before, you can probably exit. But I'm just going to explain this for Patty, because this is kind of an important part of this whole thing. So I'm going to compare a couple different things here quickly, because the first one is when you're comparing the service that we have, the super-backed service, it's very similar to like a Casa, Unchained, collaborative custody model there. But the reason why our service is better, in my opinion, is because number one, nobody else is holding a key to that Bitcoin. And when nobody else is holding a key to that Bitcoin, nobody knows how much Bitcoin you have. We don't need to know your name. We don't need to know your phone number, your address, your Bitcoin balance, anything. We don't even know. You don't have to pay in fiat either. You can pay in Bitcoin and be fully non-KYC. The other part too there that is better with our service, in my opinion, there's the KYC aspect where we're very much cheaper right now. And one of the things that people have been asking me is like, well, because we have a lifetime membership, and people are like, well, you're a new company. What happens if your company doesn't exist in 2 years? What are we going to do there? And the first thing I'd say to that is, number one, yes, we are new. We still have to build people's trust. Obviously, any new business does, but that's why our price is so low. Like our lifetime membership for this service is basically like the annual fee to our competitors. So you're taking a little bit of risk there in terms of like us disappearing, but you're also getting, 1/20th of the price as our competitors have. So it's a trade-off there. I'm sure in 5 years, once we're more established, our cost will probably be 10x. The other thing too there is that because of the way this software works, it's a verifiable software that you can get on GitHub. We keep a copy, you keep a copy. There's going to be banks, lawyers, notaries using this same software, which you're going to be able to get a copy from yourself. So even if we disappear in a couple of years from now, you're going to have everything set up. You're going to have your inheritance stuff. You're going to have everything already established. And then if you need to restore it, you're going to have a lot of different options to be able to do that. So it's kind of going to work without us into the future, even if we were to vanish. But I think another part of it too is that like I have a public show here. So the risk of me like rugging people is not aligned with the rewards from that for me. So that's why it's better. That's why, it's cheaper, because we are new. We still have to gain that trust from people. And basically what it does is it replaces your recovery phrases. It encrypts your recovery phrases. So instead of keeping it on paper or steel, you encrypt it. Because the problem with a lot of people's setup is they have like this really fancy secure device, like a cold card or a Jade or a passport. And then they have their 12 words like in the same safe or in the same house or wherever. And the problem there is that even if somebody came across this, they can't do anything with it. They need a PIN, right? But then you have your 12 words sitting right underneath there, which makes this thing pretty much obsolete, irrelevant. They can just bypass this and put your 12 words into a wallet, and they now have your Bitcoin. So what this does is it encrypts your recovery phrases. And you can geographically disperse that anywhere in the world. And the nice thing about that is that you don't have to trust them, because it's a QR code. It's not 12 words in plain text, which is the main drawback to like a multi-sig, in my opinion, is that you do have to trust other people there with your devices, with your recovery phrases. With this setup, you don't need to trust anybody. So you maintain full ownership of your Bitcoin. You don't have to trust anybody. Nobody knows how much Bitcoin you have in this whole process. And you have no trace of Bitcoin in your house. There's no holes in this setup. The only hole in this setup is that it takes a little bit more time. It's a little bit more energy. Using somebody like Casa or Unchained or Nunchuck, I think, also offers something similar to this. It's very easy, very convenient. You could sign up with them probably over the phone. You could have everything done, but there's trade-offs there. More expensive, not fully KYC'd. Some of them are a little bit better with KYC stuff. But you're also trusting somebody with your Bitcoin, with a key. So with this, we don't know how much Bitcoin you have. And finally, the last part here is that you can actually store more than just your Bitcoin information in this. You can store your online banking stuff. You can store your digital passwords, PIN codes, passphrases, metadata related to your Bitcoin wallets, all this stuff that you need to back up, you can put in this encrypted text box. So it's really cool. Really, it's the thing by far that I'm most excited about in Bitcoin. This is something I played out in my head thousands of times of how I could best do this without having to trust somebody, without having to, rely too much on myself. This is like the setup. This is the Bitcoin standard of Bitcoin security. But again, the only issue here is that it takes a little bit more time. It takes a little bit more work, more responsibility. So if you're up for that, then shoot me an email. And that's for Patty. That's for everybody there. And just put Superbacked in the title, and I'll send you all the information related to Superbacked. And then if you want to, you can set up a call with Craig and I. And Craig is definitely a guy you want on your team. That's a nice thing here too, is like we set it up. And then if you're a lifetime member, we go through twice a year with you and your family, not just you, but like your kids, your spouse. We go through the process together. So if something were to happen to you unexpectedly, we have this inheritance protocol, plus your family members are very familiar with us and the whole process itself. Like, honestly, it's very hard. It's going to be very hard for anybody to find a better setup than this, truly. And it's exciting. We're the only company that offers this solution right now. Randy says, how much fiat are you talking about for someone who has not set anything up? I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean, Randy. If you're still here, maybe just clarify there. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Where do you keep steel plates? That's the problem. That's the problem, is that you have to keep it in your house. It's in plain text. You could hide it very well, but somebody comes through your house with a metal detector in your backyard, in your walls, they're going to be able to find that steel plate. With ours, there's no trace of Bitcoin in your house at all, other than, my plan is to keep some Bitcoin on my phone, but that's it. I'll maintain full ownership of it while not having to trust anybody and it not being in my house. Also, we got a fat zap here, 1,000 sats for the show. Man, this has been a long show today. I don't know this. I don't know why I did this and I do this to myself, but anyways, here we are. Bird Meta, lock me in for a hoodie, please. 88 if available.